Bruce, if you're planning to come back, you better do it quick. This girl's about to blow every penny you get. So Batwoman is now falling in line with all the other CW shows where you're going to have sort of the main villain kind of in the background, overarching story, and then you're going to have the villain of the week. And this episode's villain is Magpie. That's right, Magpie. So now the first scene in this episode is Magpie rappelling in to the jewelry store museum, all Tom Cruise like. Now she's got to do this because there's lasers all over the floor and there's top security. But when she she drops down to the case that houses the ring she's trying to steal, she just opens it. She just lifts the lid. There's not a padlock. There's not duct tape. Nothing. And when the security guard comes running in, she throws these bird-shaped bombs. I'm not kidding you. They're like little plastic replica magpie birds. Because she's Magpie. Then we got the opening title screen that's still doing that same cheesy early 2000s Batwoman spinning logo thing. And we're greeted to Rachel Maddow on the radio. Again, I guess she's going to be in every episode, just being annoying as crap. She's actually kind of funny in this episode. She's talking about how Batwoman must have missed out on catching the bad guy, the main villain, Magpie, because she was doing her hair or worrying about her lipstick. So it's funny to hear Rachel Maddow being all like, sexist. And then the next thing we see is Kate Kane and girl from last week in bed. Now, it wasn't a full-on sex scene, but I was a little surprised to see that much skin in this episode. Now, we get it. I know she's gay. That's fine. But for me, the camera just got a little too close and lingered a little too long. I felt kind of creepy. Then Kate's got to get out of there because that's what you do. Then Kate jumps on her motorcycle and she does her monologuing, which is basically the letter that she writes to Bruce, which they're kind of doing that in the beginning of the episode now. They're not doing it at the end, which, okay, it's fine. I liked it better at the end where it just sort of summed up her inner thoughts about what happened in that episode, but whatever. And during her little monologue, she's quoting Rihanna. And then she talks about how she's been out and proud for a while since she was outed by a boy in high school or junior high. It doesn't really specify. And so she's having a tough time concealing her secret identity and dealing with that. And I thought that was a fairly decent comparison to draw. And that's probably the heaviest this episode gets because kids from this, it's all downhill. So Kate goes back to Wayne Tower where there's camera people taking pictures of Martha's pearl necklace because they're going to have that shown in some event somewhere. It's not going to be auctioned off, but she's going to lend the necklace to someone celebrating great women in history. I'm not exactly sure. And I have no idea why they're asking Kate if they can borrow this necklace. I don't see how she has any legal right to anything. So to figure out the relationship, she's cousins with Bruce Wayne. Bruce's mom is the sister of her dad. So if anything, her dad should be in charge of Bruce's estate. So I don't even know how this is working out. Could we see later on down the road? I mean, if we find out that Alice is truly Beth, which is Kate Kane's sister, then does that mean they both have equal rights to Wayne Tower? So are they both going to be? Are we going to have Batwoman and Batwoman 2? Luke also explains that the reason he called her is not really for this, but it's for the guy that she captured that's in the Batcave from the last episode. I forgot he was here. Luke's trying to tell her, hey, listen, his injury is infected and we need to get him to the hospital. He's not going to make it. Which she just slubs off as, nah, he's just dehydrated. Then some alarm goes off saying he's, I don't know, dying. And then she says, oh yeah, we need to get him to a hospital. Thanks for getting on board, Kate. What is wrong with this girl? It was at this point I was convinced that Kate Kane is just dumb as a stump. I mean, her ego is getting in the way of logic. And her being dismissive of Luke is going to continue for the entire episode. I think he's turning into the C-3PO of the Batwoman TV show. So Kate Kane, as Batwoman, takes this guy over to the stepsister to fix up. So there's a pretty quick exchange between her and her stepsister. And Kate Kane is using a voice synthesizer. So it's making her voice sound a little more, dare I say, butch. Then we cut to the stepmom, who is in the cemetery with a guy running a backhoe. And they're digging up the grave of her sister Beth. More on that later. So then Alice shows up with a couple of goons and she confronts the stepmom. And we're led to believe in the scene that the stepmom has done something to allow Kate and her father to believe that Beth is dead. And then Alice says that she knew she would find the stepmom in the cemetery covering her tracks. Then Alice says she's willing to keep quiet about all this as long as stepmom gives her a super secret weapon that the company that stepmom owns is working on. Next up we see Magpie rappelling into another room exactly like she did at the beginning of the episode, so I'm starting to wonder if there's no skylight in the building, is she gonna even bother robbing the place? But this time Batwoman is there and she uses a batarang to cut the rope that Magpie was using to repel. I don't know why I'm doing this. And then we have a fight scene with some horrible music. It's not the I Am a Woman song, but it's very similar to that. And as Magpie tries to escape, Batwoman throws a batarang, and when the batarang comes back, she misses it and it breaks a vase behind her. And somehow Rachel Maddow was able to get the security footage from the museum within hours so that she could go on air the next morning to make fun of her. It's weird. It's like she's doing this J. Jonah Jameson thing. Then we see Kate Kane back in the Batcave, and she's pissed off at Luke because she didn't catch the batarang. And he's trying to tell her how to do it in technique, and she says, I'm not kidding. Stop bat-splaining. I told you the woke was back. I told you it was back. So, of course, she's not the problem. He's the problem, and he's got to fix the batarang. And while we're still in the Batcave, we find out that Kate was able to steal one of the Magpie bombs from Magpie. And Luke has been examining it, and he tells her, I'm not making this up, that it was made using explosive ink. But here's where it really gets stupid. He says that the explosive ink is used in 3D printers. Have you ever seen a 3D printer? 3D printers do not use ink. They use plastic. They use a spool of plastic. I mean, listen, kids in junior high are using 3D printers. The showrunners of this show, they should get this. If you're going to try to base some of this technology in reality, you might want to be part of our reality. So Kate leaves the Batcave to go take her girlfriend to lunch. And, they're walking around, they're holding hands. And I got to say, everybody else in the show dresses like an adult. But for some reason, she dresses like a 14-year-old boy. I mean, she just needs the skateboard to complete the look. And, of course, she's got to go to the Crow headquarters to talk to Sophie because they got to have that weird, odd... It's not even sexual tension. It's just awkwardness. It's a scene that I don't want to be in, and I don't think either one of the actors want to be in. And for all you Ruby Rose fans out there, do not worry. She continues to do her nod pout. The like how she bows out of every conversation. She's like, Batwoman, it's very, mature. She's gonna get whiplash if she keeps doing it. I'm telling you, it's not good for your neck. It's not good for your neck. Quit doing it. Quit doing that. And while she's there, Sophie gives her a list of everybody in the area who's bought explosive ink. Just go with it. So Luke takes the list, and I guess him and Kate pick the one they like the most, and it's a P.O. box. Next, we see Batwoman at some abandoned theater, and she says she's here because this was the address that was tied to the P.O. box. And she got that information from the guy at the post office because she posed for a selfie with this guy. I want to see that deleted scene where she's standing in line at the post office, and she wants to know... And of course, Magpie's office workshop is there, and for whatever reason, it's like 40 degrees. So she tells Luke about the 40-degree office, and he's like, oh, it's probably a booby trap. If the temperature is raised by any degree inside that office, it'll explode. How do you know that? Or why would you assume that? But listen, don't worry, the suit you're wearing can drop your body temperature down 40 degrees. That doesn't work. I know it's the bat suit, and I know it's supposed to have all the gadgets. I know this is basically sci-fi at this point. And having heaters built into the suit makes sense because that's a little element. It's a heating element. You can buy heated jackets and heated gloves now. That's not a stretch. But to say that the suit is going to be able to drop your body temperature down to 40 degrees, I mean, refrigeration doesn't work that way. So she goes into the office with the suit, dropping her body temperature down to 40 degrees magically. Let's not even talk about the exhaust that would be created by the... I'm sorry. And he also explains to her that she can't breathe because he didn't invent kinetic energy. What does that have to do with anything? What does kinetic energy have to do with thermodynamics? So she goes in the office with the 40-degree suit, and she can't breathe, and she goes in, and she's trying to find some clues, and she finds the pearls, and he's like, oh, by the way, why don't you go ahead and make a copy of the hard drive? And she's all like, what are you doing? I can't breathe. Why don't you just take multiple trips in and out of the office? I mean, the door wasn't locked. The door wasn't booby-trapped. Go in, get the pearls, go out, take a breath, go back, or just steal the computer. And because Batwoman is a bonehead, she sneezes. I don't know. But she uses a grapple gun to get out of there just in the nick of time as the office explodes. So the pearls are back at Wayne Tower. Luke's got the hard drive in the Batcave, and he's scanning to see if he can find any kind of data or figure out what her next move is. And he finds the last thing that she printed on the 3D printer. So he's pulling up that file, and he's printing it on his 3D printer. And I know this is a nitpick, and it probably doesn't matter, but that's not how 3D printing works. You don't spray it out. It's not like silly string. So then Kate Kane goes to a party with a girlfriend. Turns out this is actually the event where they're going to have the Martha pearls on display. Now, while she's there, Kate tells the woman that is emceeing this charity event that, she's so sorry that she couldn't bring Martha's pearls to the event. And the MC is like, well, what do you mean? Of course, we've got them right there. So she calls Luke. She's like, hey, what's going on? They have the pearls. We didn't give them the pearls. The pearls are back in the Batcave. Then Luke explains that that was the last thing that Magpie was printing. It was a fake set of pearls on a 3D printer with explosive ink. So while Kate is in the janitor's closet getting in the bat suit, Magpie shows up and pulls the fire alarm. Everybody starts getting freaked out and they start rushing towards the exit. And during all the confusion, Magpie makes her move to steal all the other jewelry on display. So then Batwoman confronts Magpie, and Magpie's like, hold on, I've got a detonator. I'm going to blow up all those pearls, those fake pearls that are printed with explosive ink. So you got a choice. You're going to stop me or you're going to save them. And of course, she hits the button, the pearls fall, so you think, oh man, there's going to be a bunch of explosions. It's going to be horrible. What happens next is the goofiest crap I've ever seen. So Batwoman disengages from Magpie to go stop all these explosions from killing everybody, right? And what it looks like is the goofiest thing ever. It looks like she's just dancing and she's got her cape and she's trying to block the explosions. But the explosions are so small, they don't do any damage to the room that she's in. They don't damage the floor, the window, they're not knocking anything over. I can't tell if she's shielding herself from the explosion or if she's covering up the explosion with her cape. It just looks goofy. And she just looks like she's doing this stupid, she's breakdancing. It just looks, it looks so ridiculous. If you've seen this, you know what I'm talking about. And adding to the stupidity of the scene, everyone else is already out of the building because of the fire alarm. So there's really no threat to anybody. But of course, there is one pearl that sort of rolls out of the building into the sidewalk, and a little girl picks it up. Now, for whatever reason, this pearl hasn't exploded yet, but all the other ones have. So the girl's got the pearl, and Batwoman takes a batarang, which has now been recalibrated for her shorter arms. I'm not making that up. Throws the batarang, knocks the pearl out of the girl's hand. It explodes, but not before Batwoman can jump in and wrap her cape around her and save her. And I know it's a TV show and the effects aren't that great, but these explosions are just, they're so tiny. It's like, what are you worried about? And then as Kate Kane pulls her cape back to reveal that the girl's okay, the girl is actually holding Batwoman's face and says, it's really you. You've been Batwoman a week. Once again, the show is really trying to emphasize that Batwoman is just a savior and everyone knows her and everybody loves her. It must have been a hell of a week. So right after the little girl tells Batwoman she's the chosen one, we see Magpie shoot a grapple gun over to the other building. So then Batwoman takes her grapple gun, shoots her with the grapple gun, which for some reason doesn't like pierce her chest and kill her, and drag her down, and she lands in a fountain and she's okay. And even if the grappling hook just wrapped around her waist and pulled her, she fell 7 stories into a fountain with like 12 inches of water. And of course, as soon as she pops her head out of the water, the crows are there with pistols saying it's over. Yeah, it's over. And the way they keep wrapping up these episodes is all wrong. Once again, we see Kate Kane showing up just as the bad guy is in cuffs. And she's like dressed for a night out on the town. I mean, you need to end it with Batwoman on top of some rooftop somewhere, looking down heroically, cape flapping in the wind while she's hauled off to jail. Or she's thrown in the paddy wagon. Or whatever. But no, we got to have Kate Kane there watching the bad guy being led away in handcuffs so she can have a breakup scene with the blonde. Next, we see stepmom and dad, and they're having a conversation where the stepmom basically says, hey, listen, I had my employees find deer skull fragments and pass that off to all the authorities as the skull fragments of your daughter. What? Now, the rationale she uses is that, hey, you were looking for your daughter and you were obsessed and Kate was just a wreck and I had to just bring this to a close. So I did this to fool you. I got fake bones. I fooled all the police. I had all the authorities in on this. I had the coroner involved in this. Evidently, she had Batman fooled too because remember, he was looking for her too. It's really, really stupid. Of course, they're pissed off and Dad leaves. Now, early in the episode, we had the blonde, all sad because she used to live in some apartments and some evil billionaires came in and kicked everybody out and turned it into a giant high-rise condo. And so, billionaires are bad. Sensing a theme here. Remember last week, Tommy, evil billionaire guy? So the last scene is Kate sitting at Bruce's desk and she asks Luke what he knows about real estate. And he says, well, I know people don't like popcorn ceilings. And she says, well, that's more than me. But Luke, you better brush up on all the real estate knowledge and become an expert on top of all your other duties because I'm going to start buying real estate. Why? What are you going to do with it? You have no idea what you're doing. How do you legally have access to any of Bruce Wayne's money? Why does Luke put up with this woman? Why? I don't understand. He is not subservient to her. She just came in and took over. And I don't understand why. You know, this episode is just a mess. Everything going on with Kate Kane as Batwoman, that all feels like a B story. The A story, the thing that I'm interested in, is the mother-in-law and Alice and what's going on there. The dad, the mother-in-law, Alice, even the blonde that she broke up with. Everyone in the show is a better actor than Ruby Rose. Everybody. So anyway, y'all, that's it for episode 4. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Did you see this? Am I watching this all by myself? Just let me know. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.